Hi, how are you? Welcome to Jewels for Christ Ministry. We are having another production today for our testimony. I'm Wangoi Gitao, sitting in for Pastor Wangeshi, and I will be interviewing a young lady, very beautiful, a worship leader, and we are looking forward to hearing her testimony. And what I love about testimonies is because when you testify, you basically you're encouraging somebody else. You are inspiring someone else. You are giving someone confidence that even if they are going through something, they can overcome through Christ. And I would want us to refer to the Bible in the book of Revelation 12:11, and it speaks of the power of a testimony. And basically it says, and they overcame Satan by the blood of the Lamb and the words of their testimony. So I hope you, Jewel, today that you're going to be encouraged. You're going to be encouraged in the Lord as you go through your journey. So allow me to welcome the beautiful lady to introduce herself. Karibu.
Asante sana.
How are you?
Hi, Ongai. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm fine. My name is Muindi Mutisya. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Yes, it's been.
Yes, Karibu sana.
Yeah.
And we are encouraged because I know you personally.
Yeah.
You're a worship leader. And when I see you minister, I'm like, wow, what a lady. And when we see the glory of the Lord on a person, we often don't think they have gone through something or a journey.
Yes.
But we would want to hear from you. Who is Ruth? Where are you coming from? Where do you come from, your family? Can you give us a background of your story? And then I will help you bring out your story. I'm basically here to hear. Eh? So let me hear more. Tell me, Ruth.
First of all, I think there's a scripture in the Bible that says that we will only be glorified with Christ if we also suffer with Christ. So for me, there is no glory without suffering. That is what I believe, and that is what I have gone through. I have gone through a process, and I'm here to share and encourage someone. So as you've heard, my name is Muindi Mutisya. My first name is Ruth. I grew up in a family of 3. We are 3 sisters, and I am the first one. I was privileged to be the first one. Wow. So I'm a mid-90s babies. I will not quite reveal my age, kabisa. Ladies, don't reveal the age. I had so. So, I was born in Nairobi, and raised in Nairobi the same way. I went to primary school, Buruburuan Primary School. That's why I went to primary school. High school, I went to the SA, Kenya Girls. And by the SA, I don't mean South Africa. I mean the Salvation Army. Kenya Girls.
Come on.
Yes, so I grew up in a family whereby I will basically say I was born in church.
PK, pastor's kid.
Well, yeah, don't love saying it exactly, but so yeah, I was born in church, but I really didn't have the understanding of who Christ was. I think the challenge with basically people who were born in church is you find your parents going to church and you kind of take it as a habit, or maybe because it's a routine. So I didn't know anywhere else to go on Sundays. Actually, joke and tell my friends that I think I have missed church like 5 times in my whole life. That is before Corona. Yeah, so I've missed church I think for 5 times, and all those times there are very good reasons, you know. So yeah, so I didn't really have the understanding of who Christ was, but I grew up going to church as a routine. I had responsibilities because I was a leader's child, so they tend to put you on responsibilities in church and all those things. But I really didn't have an exact understanding of who Christ was, of who God was. I think for me, until I will say maybe 6 years ago or 5 years ago, so I thought God is just is just someone up there who hands rules, a set of do's and don'ts, like how we are given the Constitution, like this is what to do, this is what not to do. So for me, that is the perception I had of God. I had perception of, so God is someone up there who I don't know, who just hands down rules to us. So don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other, you know. So yeah, that's basically what I would say about my background.
So you knew God of your dad and your mom?
Yes, I knew the God of my dad and my mom, and boy, did I know scriptures. I remember, I think that if there's one thing I remember very well about my dad is during holidays, oh my goodness. I think if it was maybe a public holiday, so he's not going to work and we are also not going to school, we will do Bible study mpaka saa saba usiku. You know, as in you're literally dozing, but he's like, wake up. I need you to learn about this, the tabernacle of nini nini, you know. As in, so yes, so scriptures, I knew scriptures. Like memory, and then the memory verses, of course, when you go to Sunday school, you have every Sunday you have a memory verse. So I knew memory verse quoting and you know all these things, scriptures I could quote. Quite a few.
So you're basically telling us you were modeled into knowing Christ.
Yes.
By your parents.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
They were ministers.
They were ministers in the church. They were ministers in the church. So that is the direction they put us on. Yes, that is the direction they pushed us to. So we knew God at quite an early age, but we really didn't have an understanding of who really God was. We just knew that there's a God somewhere, and dad and mom serve him. And so, yeah, so that's what we are supposed to do. So
sounds like a happy home.
Well,
yes.
I wouldn't really say, you know, all homes have their challenges and all those things.
I agree.
So I would say, yes, it was quite a very happy home, according to how I knew it, until I think during my teen years, there were a lot of issues. And I think at some point, my father and mother, first of all, my dad went abroad to work in Afghanistan. So he was working abroad, and I was a daddy's girl when I was growing up, so that didn't really sit well with me.
I know.
It really didn't sit well with me, you know, because I was kind of spoiled. He spoiled me a good lot, you know. And then there's quite an age difference between me and my siblings. So I grew up alone for a while, and so all the attention was kind of like on me. So when they came, firstborn, you know, there's like a problem. So my dad really spoiled me. So I think when he left, you know how you mothers are, you know, quite strict. So yeah, my mother was quite the strict one, and I think that didn't sit well with me, you know. But also in high school, you know, when you go to intermingle with other children, because my friends the friends I had in school, like, and all these things were just somehow in one way or another, as in church related and all those things. So I think when you go to high school, it's when you see a different ball game altogether. So high school marked a lot of beginning of a lot of exploration for me. And I think for the first time I went somewhere and I knew Sundays you don't have to necessarily, church was necessary in school, but you know they had CU and all those things, and I wanted to experiment. I wanted to see what's different, because my whole life, like, I've had church, home church, fellowship, and all those things. So I wanted to experiment something new. So of course, with the experimenting came a lot of challenges. But I will take you back kidogo. I think around primary school, I started smoking at around class 6.
Smoking?
Yeah, I started smoking. I started smoking under the influence of our house help. Yeah, so I think I was just a curious child, you know, because I would see in TV and I fancied, I think, seeing lady. For the first time I saw a lady smoking, I'm like, so people can actually smoke. So I think I will hide myself and roll a newspaper and all those things. So I think our house help saw that a few times. So she just went one day and got a cigarette for me and handed me the cigarette. And that was it. That was the beginning of quite a struggle. Experimenting. Yes, I will also say high school brought another phase of me experimenting with ladies. I was a lesbian in high school. Yes, I was a lesbian in high school. So it brought forth a lot of experimenting, you know, and
freedom to do what you want.
Yes, exactly. You know, because when I was at home, like, it was my movement, church home, church home. You know, so I think interacting with people and all those things. So yeah, and going to functions and seeing life on a whole new level. Of course, negative level, but that's That's what I ended up experimenting. So of course, because of one way or another of all these things, I didn't perform so well when I finished high school. Of course, being a daddy's girl, daddy was very disappointed, and of course, just had to find a way to get his girl to, get to college. So I went to college, which was even worse. I believe. Performance was not really good also, but also now meeting new people and experimenting even further.
It continued.
It continued further.
Okay.
But in high school,
what are your parents saying?
Sorry?
Are they aware of what you're doing?
Oh, so they were not really aware of what I was doing because I was not really a boarder or something. I was a day scholar, so I used to go and just come back, do things and come back home very well, But in high school, I think in Form 2, I had my first seizure. So I had an epileptic seizure. But the thing is, I did not know. Because when it happens, like you're unconscious. So it happened a few times, but funny enough, I didn't come home to tell my parents about it. So it happened in Form 3, Form 4. So when I finished high school, I think...
Did you know they were epileptic then?
I really didn't know it was epilepsy, because I used to wake up and people tell me, oh, you are foaming in your mouth, you were, I don't know, doing what. So of course I would be embarrassed, but then just keep it to myself. But when I finished high school, it happened and it happened again and it happened again. So it caused an alarm to my parents. My dad had by then come back from Afghanistan, so they decided to take me to a doctor. And it was ruled out, whatever it was told. I was told that I had epilepsy, and so from then things quite changed. I felt quite embarrassed, because I really didn't know what to expect. They will happen, And then I had this one instance when it happened in school, in college, and when it happened in college, I started being stigmatized, and people didn't want to sit around me. So that really, in one way or another, affected me, even how I saw myself, how I had esteem issues. Like
no one told you, no one walked with you and told you have this and it's manageable or it's not manageable. Wasn't that done?
Well, it was a new thing, So I was just told to take medications. I used to take medication. That is,
people stigmatized you because of your condition.
Of course, yes.
What did that do to Ruth?
Of course, it affected me. It affected how I saw myself. It affected a lot of things, and I had despite of the background I grew up in, I still have I had a lot of internal turmoil because I just had issues with myself, and my parents in one way or another, I would really want to tell parents, any jewel who's a parent, it's very important how you raise your child, because what you say to your child, they really take that up. They really, really take that up. So I think because of, in one or another, how it was, my dad would call me names, my mom would, do things, and it kind of stuck on me. And of course, because of disappointing my dad when I didn't perform very well in high school, he called me names. So in one or another, I knew that I will not be any better than those names. And then I remember after high school, there's a period where I came clean with my parents and I told them, Dad, Mom, this is what has been happening to me. I have been struggling with lesbianism at a certain point in my life. I have done cigarettes, and my father was so furious. He was so furious, and he called me names. He really, really called me bad names that I wouldn't say here.
In anger?
Yes, in anger,
Mm-hmm.
But I was only a teenager, so I would really not understand why he would call me such names, and he was disappointed and all those things. So all that, it kind of gave me, there's a way I looked at myself, and for some reason, I could not be able to go past what I had my parents and what people around me called me to be. So yes, so that really affected me. So at a certain point, I think when I had a seizure in school and I got stigmatized and all those things, my performance was really low. And actually what happened was I would really no one to go to school. My mother had to beg me every morning, please go to college, please go to college, please go to college. So, in one or another, that affected my performance that semester. And so my dad told me that he's not going to school a fool. So that was the end of me in college, you know. And of course, the trajectory my life took after that was very, very different. Because, you know, your peers are out there in colleges and, you know, they are doing their thing and they're asking you, hey, so how's school going? How's nini? So there's nothing else around that time that goes on a child's mind, you know, because it's either school and what happens in school and all those things. So actually during that time, I lost a lot of friends because I could not be able to keep up. Like I couldn't say what's going on in my life. I was just at home, chilling, doing nothing, you know. And then the worst season, I think, was the graduating season. When people are graduating and they're like, hey, Kwani, you're not graduating, Kwani, you know. That was the worst for me. Like I would literally just cry and cry and cry. And yeah. So that affected me, how I felt, how I looked at myself. Yes, that really took a toll on me.
Wow, I hear you telling me that it's a fall after another.
Exactly.
After another.
Yes.
After another.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
No one understood you. You felt like you were not understood by your parents, the society.
Not even friends.
Everything was against you.
Yes.
And it made you loath inside.
Yes, I think I like it was from just hopelessness to hopelessness to hopelessness, you know, and it was just crazy. Wow. It was crazy, really crazy. I remember I have attempted suicide three times.
Through that period of time?
Yes, through that period of time.
Okay.
Because, of course, sometimes when your parent comes and sees and hears of other children and what they're doing and looks at you, you know, they compare you and they call you names and all those things. So I think it became a point I was very suicidal. I attempted suicide thrice. So I think most of them actually point out to my dad calling me names, and we had an argument, and then I was like, if my father can think this about me, then I have no future, you know, because he was the one person I really loved and I really looked up to, and you know, so if you have this idea about me, then it's better off if I die.
And you know, to every girl, their father is their first love.
Yes, and they're like their heroes. So if the person you really love doesn't seem to to really think about you in a very good way, I think it really affects you.
It's true. It's true. And you're looking for help. You're crying for help.
Yes. Okay. But I think
in the wrong places.
Wow. But the one thing I'll have to point out, apparently, I think affecting my identity being affected made me look for affection in all the wrong places.
It's true. It happens.
Yes, it happens, you know. So I will look for identity and affection from men.
Yeah.
And that drove me a really bad path because I ended up being any guy who cared to just show me a little bit of affection. That's it. Like I was just
looking for.
I was looking for daddy, you know, in every man. And of course, you know, people out there in the world are not so good. So some will use you and then just dump you. So I had, as a result of that, I came to have a really bad sexual addiction.
Okay.
Yes. So I ended up being a sex addict, and it was really, really bad.
So in the midst of all this, you're looking for affection. You get it in the wrong places, then you get hooked to the wrong thing.
To the wrong thing. Actually, I would want to remind you very strongly. It's a roller coaster, and I am still in church. I am still in church, by the way.
You're serving, you're helping your folks in church.
I was in church all this while. When all these things are going on, I was in church.
And your dad is in church?
Yes.
Wow.
And you know, like, I will go through all these issues during the week, but on Sunday, man, game face, I have to look good and, you know,
and smile
and act like nothing is happening.
Wow.
And yes. So it's quite a challenge. And I had friends. Funny enough, I really had funny friends because in church, I will say, I had friends who I would give advice, who would come to ask me for anything, and I will help mend their relationships with their parents and nini. But no one ever cared to ask me how I was going through, what I was going through and how I was feeling. So I think when they learnt about my first suicide attempt, people were very shocked.
Because my friends, you have the word.
Yes, as in yes, because they're like, Rose, really? Like she didn't go anything. Like, she gives us advice. She helped me do this. She helped me mend my relationship with so and so. Like, she has words of wisdom and all those things. And this is just to tell you, your friend who is full of wisdom and all these things still needs to be checked upon. Wow. Don't just assume because you see me in church and I smile and I'm looking all good. Everything is not together. Everything is not together. You need someone to ask you how you're doing. Yes, you need someone to stop you in the tracks, and just ask you, so how are you doing? But I will say for a fact, because we have the real genuine wanting to know how I am doing, and we just have the, how are you doing? And I'm like, I'm fine. A general just genuinely want to know how your friend is doing, if you actually care for that person.
It's true.
Yes.
It's true.
So I think it came as a scare for my friends,
church,
yes, in church. And then I remember there is a time I tried to get help from a bishop's wife.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went, approached her, and I was just telling her, because I was very frustrated with what I was going through, and my parents will spend a lot of money. They will take me to hospital every month, for checkups. Medication was a lot of cash, and they will get frustrated, and sometimes my dad will just tell me, you know what, it's all this, I'm wasting all this money because of you. If you will not have made bad choices and been a good girl, I will not be spending all this money, So I approached a bishop's wife, and I was just telling her, please help me pray. Let's work together so that at least I can heal from this thing. And maybe I thought that if I heal from that specific thing, maybe my dad will look at me in a different way, So the funny thing, we walked with this lady, with this woman. She was like a mother figure to me. And we prayed, we kept on meeting and praying. She would check on me every other week. And I got somehow better. And then
you felt like someone was paying attention.
Yes,
to you.
I felt like it, but it was only a matter of time.
So
she wanted to know if I was a virgin, if I, all these things. So first I lied to her. I told her no. I told her yes, I am. I'm a very good girl, and she said yes, keep it. Keep it for your husband. You know how we just generalize advice for young women.
Yes.
So I really felt very bad because I actually had lied. So weeks later, I went and told her, Mom, I lied and I'm sorry. I am actually not what I told you I am.
You confessed.
I confessed.
Which is a good thing.
Which I thought was a good thing, but it wasn't a good thing. The result was not a good thing because she started avoiding me. She will not call me. She will not check up on me. And every time we met, oh my God, the one thing she will tell me, usipanulie wanaume miguu yako. As you get, that is the only thing she told me. She didn't walk with me. She didn't tell me nothing. That is the only thing she told me. That is the only thing she ever said. So I think I really felt dejected.
Again.
So I was back to where I was, and I'm thinking, what?
Wow.
Then where can I find help,
It's true.
I tried telling my parents what I was going through, thinking that maybe they will work with me, but instead it turned out against me, and they started using it against me, And then I found a mother figure in church, a bishop's wife, and I tell her, and then the minute I just open up to her exactly what I'm truly suffering,
she condemns
me,
Wow.
But let me tell you something. Condemnation does not actually help anyone.
It's true.
Because for a fact, I will tell you something. The fact that she told me to keep my legs shut did not help me.
It's true. It
because let me tell you something. Sin has a way of just catching up with you, and some things are much spiritual. Let me tell you, because something like a sexual addiction is so spiritual than actually we think.
Agree.
So just telling me that did not really help. It made things worse because it pushed me away further. So I had a double lifestyle. Like there was this person who people will see on Sunday, and then there was someone else.
Wow.
But it made me loathe church folks, and I was like, I'm here, but I really hate being here. I'm just here because I have to be here.
Yeah.
I'm under my parents' roof, so anyway, What can I
get
do?
you.
And
hear you.
it's Sunday, we're going to church. No thought and nothing about it. So I really hated, for a very long time, I really hated church folks. And I remember even saying, oh, I will never get married to a man who's born again. Never, ever.
Because your father?
My father was like that. And then now I had people
In church.
They're
the ones who are
I had
pushing you
encountered
away.
men in church who were not what they actually acted to be like. And then, the devil is really funny because at that specific time, he just brought a very nice, in quotes, boyfriend my way. That man was not born again. He was a pastor's kid. And his life was this way and the church is this way.
Yeah.
So I kind of felt like we related and all these things. And I knew, and he was not born again for a fact. And so I knew I was even telling myself, this guy's not born again, but he's way honest than all the guys I have met in church, Like I know if he's clubbing on Fridays, I know he's clubbing. He will text me when he comes home, So I knew for a fact, this is it. This is it. Like, who needs a church guy anyway?
It's true.
And then we were all
disappointed.
Yes, I was disappointed. He was also disappointed from his own background. So we were just
You're both rebelling.
We were both rebelling. So there was a lot of toxicity just going on around us. So yeah, so that is how the devil put me in a corner.
Ruth, I know you as a worshipper. What? That was one rejection, one setback after another. And I would want us to pause at this point. Because how do you then get from here, rejected, and pushed down, to this wonderful woman of God who has so much confidence? If I know someone with a load of confidence, is you, Ruth. So we would want to know, how did you, because there are so many young girls who are looking at us and they're wondering,
yes,
I am that person, I am you, Ruth. How do you become the you, Ruth, right now? I know you now, but you have a story. How do you move from your setbacks to the testimony of saying that I went through this, but that's not my identity.
Yes,
my identity is in Christ.
Yes, very
right?
true. Yes.
Yes.
First of all, I would say, if I thank God for something, it's the gift that he put in me. Like you say, singing. I think singing was a lifesaver for me.
Wow.
Because where I used to fellowship, yes, we used to sing and all those things, but there was just something that you used to call me to more and more and more. And then there was a new church around my area. And then my friends told me, hey, Maze, have you gone to this specific church? They sing, Yani. You need to hear them sing and all those things, So that's how I came to Nairobi Chapel, Utawala.
Let's hold it there.
Yes.
Our viewers, Jewels, I hope you are all ears and you're hearing this amazing story. If I didn't know Ruth, as in like she's telling me this, I would be like, not you, Ruth. But it's funny because when we talk about jewels, it's sometimes we are diamond in the rough and we're just waiting to be polished. And surely God does an amazing work. You're going through stuff and you think you'll never come out of it. This is a testimony to give God all the glory that God is in a continual state of renewing us as long as we agree to work with him. I pray that you will allow God to make your story a testimony, that your test will become a testament, like yours is today. Thank you very much for joining us. Don't keep this story to yourself. Please share with your friends. Our social media handles are on our screen, even our number. If you're stuck somewhere and you're like, where do I go? Jewels for Christ Ministries' mandate is to raise an all-rounded woman who knows her purpose, who has impact in her communities and her surroundings. So you can reach out to us for prayers, for counsel, for a shoulder to cry on, and we can help you and mentor you as you go through your journey. I hope you're blessed. I am, and thank you very much, Ruth.
You're welcome.
You're a blessing to the body of Christ, And
Thank
your story
God.
is going to basically bring glory to the name of the Lord.
Amen.
I hope you're
Amen.
blessed. Thank you. Bye-bye from us, Jewels. Thank you.